All right, guys, here we're going to talk about Season 3, Episode 33 of The Twilight Zone, the original, as it appears on Netflix.
The full intro.
Yes.
Every now and then we bust it out.
So this episode had a lot of potential, I think, when it started for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it slowly went away and then ended in a way that I was like, what?
No, like, my final note is ventriloquist dummies are the most terrifying thing in the world. That was my, like, bottom line thing or whatever.
I like the idea. Like, so the man and the dummy have a good rapport. And I like when he says, like, he makes up jokes that I've never heard before. And, blah, 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 and like, it bites him at one point.
So, okay. When he's on stage and, like, because, like, part of the shtick is that it's an unruly puppet.
Yes.
And so when he's like, you know, like, come on now or something like that. But then with the bite, you're like, you start to get those heebie-jeebies, like how much of this is the act and how much of this is, like, real. That whole section in, like, the middle, I wrote in all caps, this is so on the nose. Oh, my God. Like him and his manager, and they're going back and forth. Well, it's like, hi, I just told you this. And it's just like oh, God.
What would have been better for the middle of
shit.
this is, like, as the manager is kind of like quitting and doing all the bullshit. Yeah. There's a moment where he is alone with the puppet, and then like realizes the puppet is real. Oh my God! And then him and the puppet kills him or something, and then the man is like framed for murder or like something happens. Like, no, it's the puppet. You see, it was the puppet. The puppet.
It's been the puppet all along. Yeah.
But just how it just went through all like that psychosis and talking about his problem. Like, I was like, come on, man. Either it's an actual fucking thing or it's not.
Well, so there's a lot of the on-the-nose psychology talk and, like, history talk and filling it all in and all that stuff. And then there's the very, like, artsy kind of impressionistic, like, madness, Dutch angles and cackling laughter and all this other stuff and everything. And, like, again, like, it then spikes, like, a little bit for me towards the end. When he kills the wrong puppet and he goes, it's like...
Yes, no, that was good.
It's like Secret Window. And he's like, wait, how? That doesn't make any sense. Am I crazy? Am I not crazy? And the puppet's like, hello. And you're like, oh my God, like it's this awesome like thing or whatever. But yeah, like to get there when he's hassling that was she a dancer at the club or just like a random other
dancer,
person?
Yeah.
When he's hassling her and the shadow of the puppet on the wall in a chair and he's like, I'm going mad, and the camera's just tilting and you're like, I don't like this at all.
I think playing it straight from the beginning, if they would have kept that through line of like, oh, this puppet, it bit me, oh, isn't that like, because understandably, yes, the man could be crazy, and we could be seeing things that he is seeing, and that would explain one thing.
Yeah.
But it's so much more fun if it's real the whole time, and he's trapped in this world that doesn't believe him that it's real, and it's doing these things. But, like, the moment it's talking to him, like, in his head as he walks the streets and stuff, I'm like, I'd much rather, like, you just heard the pitter-patter of his feet or shit around him. Like, something
more suspenseful and interesting.
Yeah, because you could still play off those things as they're in his head, but it wouldn't be as goofy as, like, like, Richard, you'll never get away from me. I don't know if his name was Richard.
Why you gotta lock me in that dusty old trunk? And, and he's like, did you just say something? All that, oh, God. Like, yeah, like the whole middle was kind of a chore like that. How much ventriloquist stuff has there been? Have people already explored all these possibilities? Because, yes.
Do you mean in life or...
Yes, in life. Murderous puppets is in real life. No,
how many movies have there been?
Yeah, like, because all the stuff that we're saying, all the stuff we were thinking while watching this, right? You could do, like, a long thing where things keep happening, right? I love the ambiguity of, like, is he crazy or is the puppet real? And then at the end, you can pick either one and have a big fiesta of, like, horror movie stuff if you want.
I have about 4 movies about ventriloquists and their evil dummies. Then there's, like, all the Chucky stuff. There's all the doll movies.
Like, done well like this, where there's this running thing. Done well like this.
We thought this could have been,
like
not how this was exactly executed,
Because I know there's a Tales from the Crypt episode that I think I like. There's some other stuff. I like the idea of
this. There's a great episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with a dummy.
Yeah, of this madness of, like, the puppet and all that. Because they're honestly terrifying. And, like, the whole weird thing happening, like, the whole
especially
act.
the older dummies, because, A, they were not made out of, like, an assembly line. They're all different.
And
they all
terrifying, stitched.
Like, why would you make something that looks like a horrific monster?
Why is this fun? Hello. And you're like, stop
even the ones that were made, like, Howdy Doody's terrifying. Like, why do they make them like that? They're never like a Ken doll looking thing.
I remember even, like, the Thunderbirds, whatever they're called, those weird things. I'd see little clips in between other things as a kid and be like, that's not right. What is that? I don't like that. That's not good. Oh, no. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Haunting your nightmares. His eyes, like a doll's eyes. Like, so creepy.
Literally.
And so this all builds to the ending, which I can't even whatever. They've like swapped.
Yes.
And now the doll is more terrifying, and he's also kind of terrifying. He looks like the Jack Nicholson Joker. Like.
So this is where the episode really shits the bed for me. So you start off and you're interesting, right? And you're in this premise. You're like, oh man, okay, the doll's real, this and that.
Yeah.
Then you make it like, no, it's all in his head, maybe. He's crazy, or at least we're playing that angle up. And then let's finish strong with something that's totally impossible, and like the magic of the doll has swapped their places, and no one noticed.
Well, he's gone to Kansas City and started like a new life.
No, I mean notice that he's a horrific being that you would never put on stage.
I don't. So like again, like I don't know if that's the act. Is that they swapped? I don't know. And like the obvious implication is that the dummy's in charge now and he's like taken over or something like that.
That's the angle from the beginning. I thought they were going to be playing up.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be almost like the Batman and the ventriloquist type of thing, like where the dummy is in charge.
Yeah.
And like he bit him because you stepped in my queue here, buddy. Blah, blah, blah. And there was going to be some backstage thing, and like the manager would overhear them, like him being chewed out by the dummy, be like, hey, he really commits. That new act you're working on is really good. New act? What are you talking about? Oh no, he wouldn't like that. Like Mr. Scarface.
What new act? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good too, and I would have been like, oh, that's where Batman got it from.
There's so many angles you can go with this pulpy thing, right? This is like a variety place, right, where he's, He
only goes on for like, understandably, it's a 22-minute show, and they have to speed it up, but it seems like he goes on for like 1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
All right, go up and tell one joke, and then get off, and then maybe you can mingle with the crowd for 30 seconds, roughly half your set.
That's a TV thing, I assume.
I would hope.
But there's like the dancing girls backstage. Like this is just a club where like a million different things happen. So it isn't like he's, the environment that he's in is ripe for like weird interactions with different people and all that stuff. You could have a whole thing. There's like a guy that plays piano. There's like dancing girls.
But based on the fact that you are such a small chunk of the pie of entertainment at this club, what do you think you get paid? Because he mentions a $20 an hour shrink he goes to. And I was like, all right, everything that's been established so far about the Twilight Zone, I'm like, that would buy you a car, a chicken, and a bride. Like,
buys you a plane ticket, live tiger. No, I know the money thing. I didn't bat an eye at that. I assume so when they mention money, they're like, it either means nothing. Like, here's your milkshake, sir. It'll be this much, or it's designed to imply that we've traveled in time or whatever. Here I think it's just designed to be like it's an expensive shrink. It isn't like I've cheaped out and like gone to like a fake shrink. They've tried everything.
Gone to that real head shrinker.
I'm still crazy, right? And even that whole angle, like alcoholic, drunk, whatever. Someone comes in, something's happened. There's an empty bottle. There's a dummy. He's like, "Where's the dummy?" That. You could do all these things.
When he's like, "The drink makes you think the dummy moves." He goes, "No, the dummy moves, and that makes me drink."
You got the chronology wrong, pal. All those things. Yes.
There's peppered in bits of really good in this. But overall, I would say like the bad parts really drag this episode down, and there's no really awesome monologues or really like acting that jumps out in this episode. So like for not having that too, it really
this is a weak episode.
It kind of tanks it.
The ending really made me go like, what? Because you expected a lot of maybe other things to happen, and not that of all things to happen, right?
Yeah, it was almost like a Scooby-Doo ending where it's like a character we didn't even know was the monster.
Some weird. Great, Mr. Henderson. Were you even in the beginning? What's going on? All right, bye, kids. See you next week. No, it would have been good to have like a thing of this epic battle for control, and then to be like, okay, we took care of it, and then they've like swapped or whatever, right? And you're like, oh, that was the other guy. Oh my god, this like weird thing.
But the swap would be so much more effective if it wasn't a a prosthetic. If like, okay, his hair is now combed the way the dummy's hair was, or something subtle where you could be like,
right,
okay, so before when that was happening, was that in his head? Oh, is he crazy? At the end, oh, maybe he wasn't crazy, blah, 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 blah. But the whole thing is like, well, you can never believe that thing because it ends with this thing that's totally not ambiguous at all.
Exactly, yeah. So if they had just subtly, swapped their, like, overall looks, the audience could have maybe realized that this whole time, he was the dummy projecting as the person and vice versa or something like that.
Or if as simply as in the beginning, when he swapped the voices where he talked out of that guy's voice and he threw his voice to the dummy, maybe pick up the end of the show is now the beginning of the show where he's introducing himself with the wrong voice. And you're like,
well, they have their voices.
And how good was that, though? When they swapped voices,
Yeah.
it's so much more effective because... I don't know. There's something obviously cartoony and cheesy about the weird voice coming out of the puppet. So when the normal voice comes out of the puppet, you're like, oh, that plays.
They do swap voices at the end, and that's part of the whole thing of like that they're swapped or whatever. But I wrote down in all caps, reverse ventriloquist act. Like that's like next level terrifying. What are we doing?
At the moment. Like, it ruined any of the voice
like,
stuff
watch, we can
by
do it.
switching the faces, too. Like, it
Yeah,
was
the
something that
faces,
had to be one or the other.
I think that they were going for, like, this is so out there, this is so over the top.
It felt like a
obvious or
Goosebumps
whatever.
ending, like a real child, like, ah ha ha, look at this, now he's the dummy.
Yes, 100%. It felt strangely out of character for Twilight Zone, right? And there's no like, be careful what you wish for. It's like, no like, what are you talking about?
There's no moral. There's no risk.
He's just the unfortunate victim of a crazy dummy or something.
Well, the moral, I guess, would be if you put your words into an inanimate object, it'll come alive and take you and your words.
If you give it life, it might become too much for you to handle or something. So we're saying weak episode.
Weak episode. That's our thoughts on this, guys. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this episode. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.